righty here, folks. Well, let's get started with the news. But before we do the news, we want to do shout-outs to a few of our Kickstarter backers. We want to say thank you to the Miller family, Ken, Carolyn, and Thomas, the greatest name there is. We want to say thanks to the real Brandon Tidwell. Thanks to Eric Hilsheim and Eric Fontaine from Montreal. And Jorge and Roberto from Back to the Table. Thank you guys for supporting our show. We just wanted to do a nice shout out and say thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All righty, folks, let's jump now into the news. There's some industry news and things going on, something Buonocore tends to like to think about and talk about. The first is Asmodee. So this is going to shock everyone, but Asmodee is getting bigger. And now they have the exclusive distribution rights for several companies. They already had CMON, but now they have exclusive worldwide distribution with Level 99, Jasco, and Remarks Puzzles. They're also distributing ChessX, dice games, and DSS games, but that's not exclusive. It's interesting what Asmodee is doing here. I'm not a big fan of them being a publisher and a distributor, but what do you do?
Yeah, so they're taking on the model that they have had in Europe for the longest time, where they distribute their games exclusively in various countries. But that's also a common thing in Europe. It's just very common that publishers distribute games in countries. They set up distribution points. This one, of course, is very different, and it's doing it now in the U.S. And at first, they were only doing, of course, their own products, and then they kept adding, and then they kept adding, and then they kept adding. So it's interesting now. Are they now? I don't know the answer to this. The largest distributor in the U.S. Dollar volume.
You mean for board games?
Well, board games, of course, only for board games.
Bigger than Alliance?
We've always talked about the big five, which is kind of crumbled a little bit. Alliance has always been the biggest. ACD second, GTS, then either Southern Hobby or Peachtree, PhD. PhD definitely four now. Southern has kind of gone away from board games. But it's interesting, where is Asmodee fitting into this? I've got to think that if they're not number one, they're really close. For board games, not like with comics, because Alliance has got a whole comic wing there too. I'm gonna make a guess that they're gonna get more and more and more of these deals. I've reached out to PSI to see, are they now distributing their games through PSI being a consolidator, where many smaller companies use them as a consolidator to then sell to distributors. Are they using them? I'm gonna get information on that and report back.
All right. Yellow. So this is odd news, and we don't completely understand it yet, or at least I don't. But Yellow, so from what I can tell, the way Yellow was structured, Yellow is a French company from France. I always thought Yellow was half French, half USA. But apparently Yellow USA was just a distributor for Yellow products. They've now severed ties. Yellow France says they're no longer distributing through Yellow USA, which essentially renders Yellow USA defunct because they can't really distribute someone else's games. I'm assuming the name is tied up in there. So they haven't said what they're going to do, like who they're going to use. Maybe Asmodee, maybe that's the next announcement, but I don't know much more about this. There's lots of rumors and mongering on the internet, but there's nothing been said other than they're going to stop doing it.
Right.
And I didn't know that their relationship was such that you just described. Every other company has a wholly owned subsidiary in another country when they distribute products through them. Take Portal Games. We talked about this on Board Games Insider yesterday, Ignacy and I. Portal Games USA is wholly owned by Portal Games Poland. So it's one company in essence. Here they had a whole nother company, differently owned, partly owned by the French company, but mostly differently owned in structure. And they basically said, nope, you guys are gone. We are now either breaking or just not renewing the contract. Again, hard to see through how they announced it, and how they're going to distribute now is interesting. They also made some quasi disparaging comments
Yes,
about
but
one of the owners, but we're not going to go down that road. And
I
I did
don't
reach
know.
out, and I'm gonna find out a little more information, but I didn't want to press too early on that.
All right, let's jump into some positivity. So there's a big Kickstarter going on in right now called Steam Up, a Feast of Dim Sum. We talked about this yesterday from Hot Banana Games. Well, Kids Table Board Games has announced that they will be the distribution partnership for Hot Banana Games in the U.S. This is a pretty good combo. Kids Table Board Gaming is really, I'm just getting more impressed with each new product they come out with. So this, I think, is a good combo.
I'm not familiar with either. Sorry, go ahead, Z.
No, go ahead.
I'm not familiar with either of the companies, actually. So I do love the name Steam Up, a Feast of Dim Sum, though. That makes me hungry. So
when you see the game, you're gonna. It has those little. It's a rotating table with the little dim sum bowls. It's really cool looking.
Yeah, it's on Kickstarter right now. Buonocore, we were talking about it yesterday as we did our roundup of Kickstarters.
Oh, cool.
Hot Banana seems to be a brand new company. I do believe that is their first thing, or at the very least one of their firsts. And then Kids Table Board Gaming has put out a decent amount of games with lovely components, neat games, sort of family style games. I agree. This seems like a good matchup. I have to say the new logo for the new company, for Banana Games, Hot Banana Games, blows away KTBG's logo. I love it. I think it's a very nicely designed little logo.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to sad news. Unfortunately, PAX has 4 big conventions across the U.S., and they canceled one of them. PAX South is canceled for the foreseeable future. They haven't said it's shut down forever, but basically, they said that this show has not been expanding. It's not been good. Whenever I talk to people before PAX Unplugged happened, people would say, "Hey, Tom, you should go to a PAX and game there." And the best one for gaming is PAX South. Well, I never did get around to going. It's in Texas, so it is what it is. They're using. They said one of the reasons was COVID, so maybe they're just consolidating down to the other 3 cons.
They mentioned that they just the con didn't grow at the rate that all of their other PAXs have grown, and as fast as they wanted PAX South to grow. And obviously, they mentioned COVID. That didn't help. So, yeah, it's sad to see what I would consider a major convention, because PAXs in general are huge conventions and important for gaming in general, not only for board gaming. They're very, very centric, besides Unplugged. All of the PAXs are very centric on electronic gaming. So it's sad to see this go away in general. Hopefully, let's see if they could bring it back in the future. I'm going to PAX Unplugged, though. That goes without saying.
Okay, I guess it goes without saying. All right.
Goes without saying.
It sure was said, though. All right, so next we have a game from Keep Exploring Games called Ice Floes and Foes. Floes and Foes. This looks kind of like a kid's game. Might not be, but I like to look at the game.
It looks like another one of those push people off of the surface games, right? Am I looking at this correctly? Doesn't it look like that?
No, it tells you that. It says it's done.
Well, I'm not
going
to read it, Tom. Okay, I'm looking at the picture.
The Carnival coin pusher games, trying to push other people off the board, but not knock any animals off. You want to, I guess you're surfing on ice floes, but you don't want to knock the baby seals into the ocean.
Aw.
That's where they live.
Is the box actually kind of? Yeah, I guess the box is important to the game because you put the board on the box and you got to knock it off and then it falls onto the table. Cute.
Oh yeah,
very cute.
Yeah, I see that.
Very cute.
All right, if you were not happy with Ultimate Werewolf or Ultimate Werewolf Deluxe or one of the other Ultimate Werewolves, they just released Ultimate Werewolf Extreme. I just got this here in the studio.
Finally, yeah.
With the expansions, I want to say there's over 100 roles now. There's no way on earth you'll be able to play with all of them unless you are a super die-hard extreme werewolf player, which I guess that's what this game is for. So just letting you know that that's out. In the base game alone, there's 88 role cards.
I have played Werewolf with in the high 20s, like 25, 26 players. I've played big games down like
That's
back
garbage.
in the day.
That's not big, okay? When you play with 88 people, come talk to me.
No. Actually, it says here.
75.
It says that you can play with up to 75 now with this new one. I have played once with a group of 40. Never again. That is insanity. Do not do it.
Did you do it in 2 villages or 1 village?
I did it both ways.
Okay.
And it's too much work. You run back and forth, and it's just too big.
Kind of need 2 game masters, I think, for a multi-village game. I'm waiting for the Kickstarter version that is coming soon. They said it's on the boat or really coming very, very soon. They just did I forgot what they called that one. It's another.
Wait, there's another version besides this one?
Oh yeah. That was Wait, literally is.
Are you saying yeah? This is garbage. The one coming up. That's the one.
That's the one you have to have.
Extreme Pro Plus.
I gotta go look it up.
That's what you're saying.
I gotta go look up what it's called. But it's
Ultimate
coming.
Werewolf Extreme Pro Plus.
All right. Anyhow, let's move on. A really cool cover here. Obviously, amusement parks are in theme right now. 10 Penny Parks, with artwork from Vincent Dutrait. This is coming from Thunderworks Games, who does their games always have great components. I like the art here. It looks like it's a fantasy park of some sorts from the cards. I can't tell really. The designer is Nate Linhart, who's a new designer, but it looks fun.
It looks gorgeous. Wow. Well,
Thunderworks,
I really like that.
Thunderworks puts out some really high quality looking games. Yeah, I like the name too, 10 Penny Parks. It's just a good name. It catches you.
Yeah.
If I may follow up
to it.
If I may follow up with Ultimate Werewolf Extreme, that was the Kickstarter game. It's finally fulfilling, so I guess it's also going to finally get to distribution as well. So
okay.
That's what I said at the very beginning. Got it. All right.
No. You did not say. You absolutely did not say anything of what I just said. Go right ahead. Just continue.
All right. New expansion for Tapestry, Arts and Architecture. So this is Jamie Stegmeyer and Mike Young co-designed this. And we know no other details because Jamie loves to tease stuff out over a long period of time. So I'm announcing it here, and then we'll announce it when it comes out again. But I will say this. I don't think Tapestry, I wasn't like needing another expansion. I think the first one adds a lot. But I will say I like this cover a lot. That's a nice cover.
Wait, is there already an expansion? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's called Tapestry the Patch. That's actually not true.
Oh, that's so not cool. Oh,
hey, it definitely patched. It came with a sheet in it that corrected many of the factions from the first one. So no, it was definitely a patch, but it also added other stuff too. It added more factions you could be. It added a few extra buildings and goals. It's a good expansion. I forget the name of it.
Is Tapestry selling? I didn't think it was. I didn't know it was selling well. I had no idea.
It's hard to tell because he kind of, runs his own distribution and all that sort of thing. So he has those numbers. It obviously does because I don't think he would do an expansion if it didn't.
Mm-hmm. Right, of course.
Cool.
All right, in big news for people who love Garfield games, Shem Phillips and Sam McDonald, the designer and publisher, introduced their next trilogy. So their first trilogy was North Seas. We had Explorers, Shipwrights of the North Seas, Raiders of the North Seas. Then they just did West Kingdom, where we had Architects of the West Kingdom, Paladins of the West Kingdom, and Viscounts of the West Kingdom. Now we have the South Tigris, Wayfarers of the South Tigris, Scholars of the South Tigris, Inventors of the South Tigris, coming out in the next 3 years, 22, 23, and 24.
This is insane to me that they are dropping an announcement, not for a game, for the whole trilogy. This is like some Peter Jackson stuff, man. It's like, yeah, we're going to go off to New Zealand and make 12 movies. Wow.
I'll tell you what, though, they can do it, though. Their last trilogy has been very well received. Architects, Paladins, and Viscounts. have all been well
Huge.
received.
Did they announce, though, before the first one of the whatever it was called? The first one was what, Tom, of the last trilogy? Architects of the West Kingdom, right. Did they announce before that game came out? Did they announce all three? Like, did we already know Viscounts was the name of the last one?
I don't remember if they announced the names. They definitely did say it was going to be a trilogy of games.
Yeah, okay. Wow.
Well,
all right.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with exactly what you're saying, Z. It's this is pretty out there that you would have a set of games, a set of Euro games, right, all ready to go. I mean, and not ready to go. I'm sure they're doing development at least on 2 of them, but they've got design concepts and they're working on them. They've been very successful. So this.
I'm just thinking about 25, 26, and 27. What direction can they go next? They've done north,
Hold on.
west,
North.
and south. I'm going to go with up. It's going to be up.
Northwest, south, they kind of might go east.
All right, thanks, Captain Obvious. All right, and finally, let's do a correction and patch on our own show from yesterday. Yesterday in crowd surfing, we went through a bunch of Kickstarter and GameFound projects, and people asked me about Lords of Ragnarok. And I said, that was my pick of the week a few weeks ago. Well, guess what? That was the Mandela effect. I thought I did it. It never happened. So Lords of Ragnarok is on GameFound. We're mentioning it now because our next crowd surfing is not till next week. This would have been mine and Mike's. He made the slide. This would have been our pick of the week. Lords of Ragnarok is fantastic. It is very similar to Lords of Hellas, but it feels more streamlined. And it, of course, has all this cool Viking lore mixed with steampunk. It's fantastic. And actually, Mike likes it so much, he's bringing the prototype we played here to Dice Tower Retreat. He's going to play it with people.
Ooh.
Except
So
Mr. Buonocore.
So basically, you were wrong yesterday. Very good. Got it.
I was
But
wrong.
you're right
yes.
today.
No,
Yeah, good.
I'm
Good
willing
to
to admit. I'm willing to admit this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give you an object lesson.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so check that out. That's on GameFound, Lords of Ragnarok. All right, well, that is all of our news. Let's keep going.